welcome on in, everybody. It is MVP, the Mo Vaughn podcast, powered by Perfect Game and the Vaughn Sports Academy. Listen, you got a couple of lefty first base sluggers uniting here on this podcast. Ryan Howard joining us here on the show. Ryan, thanks for the time. Really appreciate you.
Hey,
Ryan,
appreciate
thanks.
you guys having me on, man.
Hey, listen, I like this guy for lots of reasons. We're both lefty hitting. We both played in the Northeast. Him in the wild city of Philly. I'm up in Boston, so we got probably some similar minds. So I'm great to talk to this guy.
I love it.
Yeah, well, he terrorized my favorite team, Mo, because I'm a Marlins fan, and that team just, oh my God. I looked this up. Ryan, are you aware of how bad you terrorized the Marlins?
It was pretty rough down there. I know that.
Listen, his MVP season, this doesn't even seem like real number. His MVP season, 18 games against the Marlins, Mo.
But
481, 9 home runs, 667 on base percentage. Ooh. He slugged 1.074 with a 1.7 OPS.
Yeah, he was trying to get large march on you dudes.
Hey, believe that.
Talk to me, man. Inventory. How's your family? How's your family? How's your kids? How's everybody doing?
Man, everybody's well. They're just growing. Chasing the kids around. Got my son. He's over here with me in the background. He's 24 now, and then got 3 girls after that, 10, 8, and 6. So we're in birthday season at the Howard household. So we got a Halloween birthday coming up, and then we got a November birthday. My birthday's in November also, and then my son's birthday is in January. So we're in birthday season and holiday season coming at the Howard household.
So your boy was coming along when you were going through, the success, right?
Mm-hmm. How was
that? How did that feel as a dad to be able to go bring him through that little, that whole thing?
It was cool, man. He was 5 years old, my first All-Star game in 06. So He was there with me, home run derby, ripping there. I remember like it was yesterday, like he was running around with AJ, Albert Pujols' son. They're both, 5, and they sitting there ripping and running around like on the field during home run derby and everything. And I'd take him to the stadium too with me. And you can tell him anything. It was one of those things where he'd come in, he's like, all right, Dad, I'm out. He'd see Jimmy and Chase and Shane and everybody. He'd be like, hey, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, Shane? What's up, Chase? He was so accustomed to just being in there and growing up in the clubhouse that, it's just a part of his makeup.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for that whole crew of yours. Utley, Rollins. I think they played the game the way it was supposed to be played. I've always been very fond of Jimmy Rollins. I think I was, and I hope I'm telling the story right. I was playing in Boston at the time. He came in with, I think, an all-star team from the Cape League, and he sought me out and shook my hand and talked about being an inspiration. So I've always been a Jimmy Rollins fan. So I know you podcasting with him, but please tell him, with great respect, I hope he's doing well and things are going well for him.
Well, no, I will do number one first and foremost, and I second his sentiments as well. Because me also being able to watch you as well. You put some hurting on the balls, man. I was watching that. I was like, Mo, get in there. He's like, can he see? Can he even see? And then they try to run something in. I don't know why they kept trying to come in on you. It's like, y'all know I can see this, and you just turn on it. It was violent. It was beautifully violent when it came off there, man. So true inspiration as well. So I echo the sentiments.
I was telling Brendan, I said, I don't know, remember, and I'm not sure what it was. I saw you play, and I looked up, and it was like the quickest to 300 home runs. And I said, if this guy is able to stay, healthy, this guy's going to be able to do it, because he was hitting them off lefties, righties, the whole 9 yards, hitting for power, average. And I always felt that playing in Philly, people that can handle it it always propels him. And I thought that was really what was going to propel him and keep him going. And what a career he had.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, as you know what it is when you step into the Northeast. There's an expectation. There's that blue collar work ethic. And me being from the Midwest, my pops always told me you got to go out and go earn your keep. You know what I mean? So it was nothing for me, 'cause that was always the mindset of going out there and just doing the best that I could and knowing what I was capable of doing and knowing, hey, I'm gonna be all right. So I'm gonna go out here, go put my best foot forward every day.
What was it? Your friendship with Jimmy Rollins, like to have a guy who you like so much, you want to do a show with him after your careers. Then was that
awesome?
Something that you guys knew, like, hey, we got to find something just because you enjoy the company so much. Like, how did that all come together?
I mean, you know what? We just have that big brother, little brother chemistry, type of stuff, and it just always kind of ran through from when we were playing. And just carried over. We do stuff with the Commissioner Ambassador program. We're co-leads over there as well. And, they just caught us in a mode, just kind of messing around, just being Ryan and Jimmy. And they're like, man, y'all need to do like a podcast or something like that. And it wasn't the first time I heard it because my wife said it too. She's like, you guys should do a podcast together. So it's fun being able to link up with my man, Young James, and get out there and just kind of be ourselves and just have some fun.
Ryan, I want to talk about something that I think people need to understand, and for all my listeners out here. The fact that you were able to play for Charlie Manuel as a manager, and then also the fact that him being a hitting guru, how was that coming to the ballpark when the guy right in the lineup is able to sit you down and say, look, man, kick back. This is what you're doing wrong. This is the approach you need to have. How is that being able to have that guy walking in the clubhouse as the manager, but also extremely confident, extremely knowledgeable as a hitting coach? Because I used to face his teams as a hitting coach when he was in Cleveland. And it was the boys always had a plan of action. And when you came across the plate wrong, they were swinging with bad intentions. But how is that having that type of manager? Because I think people nowadays in the analytic game forget the importance of all the guys who played the game being in the game. And that knowledge of actually stepping in the batter's box and knowing what to do and being able to talk it is lost. How did that feel to have a guy like that?
First thing was, my first interaction with Charlie was I was in Double-A in Reading, and he came and watched me. And, he gave me the Tommy point. Because one of the things that he noticed was I was kind of closing myself off at times. And so I would jam myself up and I'd be too close to the pitcher. So he gave me kind of the point. And he told me, like, hold the bat out towards the pitcher so you can make sure you got both eyes on the pitcher. Then you bring it back. So I think that was kind of like the same thing that Tommy was doing before. And I think he had told him that. So I started using that as well. And it lined me back up. So when you have a guy like Charlie, first things first, always positive. Always positive, always lifting up his players. Like, if you had a bad game or you had a play or something that might have cost the team the game that day, it's always one thing when your teammates come to you and they say, hey, man, don't worry about it. We're going to get them tomorrow. But when your manager comes through, pats you on the back and says, hey, don't worry about it, son. We'll get them tomorrow. Get them tomorrow. Like, that gives you a different feel and a different motivation to be even more ready to go run through a wall. All the guys were ready to run through a wall for Charlie. He would build you up and pick you up on every aspect of the game. Charlie loved hitting so much. So it was funny that if one of our pitchers would give up a home run, and I was on the bench, I think one time, and one of our guys gave up a home run, he looked at me and said, God damn, son, that's what you're supposed to do with that ball. You're supposed to hit that ball, Rhino. And then you get on the pitcher. Yeah, you get on the pitcher the next day.
They honoring everything. The ones that hit against
hitting.
That was mean right there. You had to be so mean. You know what I mean? We appreciated the good swings no matter where they came from.
Oh, but that's the thing. But that was the thing about Charlie. Like, he loved hitting. right?
Yeah.
And he gave credit where credit was due. Like, even if it was a guy on another team, he'd be like, man, that's what you're supposed to do with that ball, you know? He'd keep it in the game, and then the next day he'd let the pitcher know, you know, who gave it up or whatever. But
Right.
that was him. And he was always picking guys up, and they kept it very loose. Charlie kept it very loose for us. The coaching staff kept it very loose. And to tackle the last part of your question where you're talking about, you know, the importance of having baseball people in there to kind of go over situations and understand the games within the game and situational hitting. And we played at a time where you didn't have to tell a guy, right? If he was a 1 or 2 hitter, you didn't have to tell a guy to bunt. You didn't have to put the sign on for the guy to bunt. Those guys would do it. We had Jimmy and Shane. If Jimmy got on and Jimmy was leading off, you didn't have to give Shane the bunt. Shane would bunt on his own. So it's like a lot of things, understanding the situations in the game, situational hitting in the game, giving yourself up. You know, it's those types of aspects where I get it. You know, the analytics that come into play, we want 2 runs instead of 1 run, but like, you start to see more teams, in my opinion, when you get to the postseason, start playing baseball.
Right.
Get them on, get them over, get them in, especially with the pitching that we've seen thus far this postseason, because the Dodgers, I mean, they just keep throwing people at you. Snell, Ohtani. Like, Ohtani won the game the other day by himself. Literally.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you have the Yamamotos and the Snells and the Christopher Sanchez's and all these guys and the Mizorowskis, you've got to find ways to generate runs. You can't just depend on the home run.
I tell people all the time, you're facing, you know, you won a World Series. I didn't get that far, but you're facing that 1-2 or 1-2 2 times, you know, 4 times in the series. And then that 3 guys coming out of the bullpen. So it even and I always maintain this, even in a regular season game, it's hard to string 3 hits in a row in the big leagues. I don't know what everybody's thinking. You have to be able to situational hit. You have to be able to do the little things to win. That's what was so great about your team is you guys not only did the little things, but you hit home runs also. All those guys, you know, were just great players to win. So what do you think the difference is between like your crew versus the crew now with Schwarber and all the guys? What is the difference between your crew and that dynasty that you guys had versus the one now?
I mean, I think that, you know, for me personally, watching those guys with Bryce and Schwarb and that unit of players, before, I would say, man, they were having problem. I didn't know who they were. Like, there was no identity, right? And you know, as I know, like, you play on great teams, that team has an identity. So it took them a while to find their identity as a team. And I think now that they've found it, I think, you know, this year, it's just been one of those things where you ran into a buzzsaw where, again, like, you just had, you ran up against really good pitching, and the Dodgers in this sense just kind of outlasted them. But there's one thing that I always say, that no matter what the team was, the one thing I can say about my squads that I played for was we didn't want to win. We expected to win. Right. And I think for any teams, you know, that if there was one thing that I would give to those guys is that every day you show up, expect to win. Because when you expect to win, like, it's a different feel. Oh, we're down by 5. No, we expect to win. We're going to come back and win this game. I think that's what it was for us, was that, wait, what inning is this? Oh, it's the 6th inning? Oh, we got to go. Like, let's go. You know, we were fortunate enough at times to be able to, you know, flip the switch every once and again. But I think the thing for us was expecting to win and not wanting to win, because everybody wants to win. Now, I can't tell you if that's what the thought process is there or not, but my piece of advice to them, like, you know, going into spring training next year would be like, hey, bro, expect to win. Every time you step on the field, expect to win.
Right.
You mentioned Ohtani, what he did this week. I'm curious, as a guy who's been atop the sport, an MVP, you see what he's able to do, this unicorn And I almost feel like we got to the point with Ohtani where it's like, man, okay, we get it. He can do everything. And then he has a game like that to send his team to the World Series. What did you think of a performance like that?
I've had these conversations with people where it's like, look, this guy is the only guy who can literally win a game by himself. Like, you can go out there and throw a shutout and hit a home run and win the game 1-0. And he won the game 3-1, 4-1, and got 10 strikeouts. I think gave up one run, if any. So when you see that, it's just we may never see that again. The chances of seeing something like that is very slim to have that happen in one game. So I mean, he's just otherworldly, and it just continues to go out there and just shows like how great of a baseball player he is. Definitely the best baseball player in this generation.
Absolutely. And I think, like I was talking, you don't know, Brendan is he's a baseball fan. Like he loves baseball. And I was telling him, I go, just look at the replay. He was painting too. He was throwing that ball down and away, floating away from lefties, throwing that ball in the outside corner. It was paint. Like, it was paint at that velocity. So he's just a tremendous talent. Let me ask you one question. I think I had a little bit of an advantage when I played. When the shift hit me, I think I was still in Fenway Park, so I had something to aim for. How did you take the shift? Did you? I think. Listen, I think averages went down when you're hitting a ball on the nose in the hole, and the damn second baseman is in right field, picking your stuff like, this, and tapping his glove and throwing you out. I think sometimes that plays a mark in a power hitting lefty's brain. And I hear these announcers talking, oh, well, just inside out the ball. No, you don't even know how to do that. So, it's not as easy. But what did you think the shift did for you, or didn't do for you, or did it affect you?
All we can do, what? I had the opportunity to work with Barry Bonds for a week, hitting wise. And Barry told me, he said, when you hit the ball and you hit it the way you want to hit it, and you put together a good at bat, and the guy makes a diving play, what did you do wrong?
Right.
So once the ball comes off the bat, it's out of your control. So when you have guys that are playing shallow right field and playing right behind second base, we know that those balls back up the middle behind second base are supposed to be base hits. We know those balls that get out of the infield are supposed to be base hits. Now all of a sudden they're not. So it's tough because I think when you really go back and you look over the course of the career and you look at, okay, when I hit 280 and 313 and this and that, what were my numbers like, right? How many balls did I hit in this area? How many balls did I hit in this area, right? And then you go to the shift and you say, oh, well, 318 to 230, nothing really changed, right? You're still having these at bats where you're still hitting the same amount of hard balls, and you're still putting them in the same places that they were. It's just now they put a guy there,
right?
And that's supposed to be a base hit, and they put a guy over here, and that's supposed to be a base hit. And you know how it is when you do actually hit one to the left side of the field, you always find that one guy that's still standing over there. But I mean, it's one of those things where, it becomes a little frustrating because you do things right and you have nothing to show for it. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, he can't hit these guys, or he can't do this, and the average is down. And they would talk about guys where now averages all across the league are down, but it's acceptable.
Right.
No, it's acceptable now. So it's just one of those things, I think, with me, where the shift was, I've looking back on it now, I got out of what my approach was staying gap to gap. And I knew, like, whenever I pulled the ball, I never really pulled the ball true. I'd always hit it with top spin. So when I was going gap to gap, emphasis from right center to left field foul pole, I would always get that backspin, But if I was pulling the ball, I got a lot of top spin on the ball.
Mm-hmm. Were you happy? I know you're not playing anymore, but were you happy that modifications were happening to it? Because I think all the time we see in sports, for the entertainment or the betterment of the game, you got to change some rules. Like we hear this: football changes rules every year, basketball changes rules every year. But for whatever reason, baseball, it felt like it took forever to say, hey, this thing as a fan kind of sucks. We want to see our hitters hit, and they kind of found a gimmick. So were you happy when it got to a point where there was finally some attempt to put a stop to it?
I mean, it didn't help me. That's supposed to make me happy. But like all seriousness though, I told my wife, I was like, watch what happens. I said, sometime after I'm out of this game, they're gonna do something to that shift. Because you could start to see the product of the game start to kind of deteriorate and go down because teams were starting to play these shifts. You had your stars getting affected by the shift. And it took away a lot of, I think, of the action in the game. So I think once they made that adjustment and say, hey, you can play a modified shift where the shortstop's got to stay on his side of second base. Second baseman's got to stay, a foot in the grass or off the edge of the dirt or something like that. Then you could start getting that action back in, because I think then once you did kind of start taking that shift out, a lot of the stuff, I think the hit and runs and all that other stuff started to kind of fade, and the action in the game, I really think, started to kind of fade. So like you said, as a fan, you're like, hey, this kind of sucks, so because more base hits equals more action equals more runs, more excitement. More people buying food and staying for the game.
I believe that the shift was detrimental. I believe that it changed people's swings. I think when you hit the ball hard in a certain area, you should get rewarded from it. I don't know. Maybe this is how analytics started. Like this whole thing where you don't want to hit the ball on the ground started with the shift, and now everybody's talking about just hit the ball in the air, which is even worse because I just don't agree. If the guy is on the mound who is higher than you, he's throwing the ball down to you. You cannot swing up and meet the ball. I just don't agree. And Ryan, we'll talk about that. But even with the shift, this guy, Ryan Howard, 12 major league seasons. Was that right?
Yeah, it's like 12, yeah.
12 major league
Something
seasons.
Like that, 12 and a half.
258 batting average, 382 bombs, 1,194 RBIs, three-time All-Star, World Series champion, National League MVP in 2006, National League Rookie of the Year 2006, National League, National League NLCS MVP in 2009, Silver Slugger Award 2006, Hank Aaron Award 2006, two-time MLB HR leader, and three-time MLB RBI leader. This guy was a force. And imagine with that shift, how much better that batting average would be. But through all of that, what a great career, a great player, played in a very tough town that is demanding. I think Philly's a little bit more demanding than Boston. And Boston, I think, is demanding. I always say New York. I think New York's a little bit easier because you got two teams. One National League, American League, it's split. Boston, listen, we're tough and but I think Philly
seems ruthless.
Philly
seems ruthless. Like even with the Eagles, being as good as they've been lately, they got a couple games, Ryan, and those fans are on them. Like, you obviously came out like gangbusters in your career. Yeah. Did you feel like you had some leeway with Philly? Like, were they always good? Did you ever face their wrath?
I don't think they gave him any leeway. We'll talk about it.
No, you know what? It was, it's like I always say, right? It's the city of brotherly love. So you love your brother, you fight with your brother, all that. Like, at the end of the day, you still got love, right? So, I mean, they're going to let you know. And that was the thing, that when you came to Philadelphia, even before, like when I first got drafted, you understood like what Philadelphia was. And you have to be ready. It's a mindset. And I would tell people, even with like Boston and New York, like it's a mindset to play in the Northeast. And I say, if you start your career in the Northeast, you can pretty much go play anywhere. Because you got to be ready, because they'll get on you and let you know Mo, you know just as much as I do. Like at times, like if the team is having a bad stretch and you're
It's your
playing at
fault.
home, it can turn into a road game real quick.
Absolutely.
It'll turn into a road game. Excuse me, but it's just one of those things where you understand what it is, and you got to have thick skin. And you, at the end of the day, they just want a blue collar effort. If you go out there, you give a blue collar effort, and you're trying hard, and yeah, you don't succeed. Yeah. I mean, Smitty faced it. I faced it. Santa Claus faced it.
Yep.
They hit my man Trey Turner early, but then you know what though? It's a choice because they chose to turn around and say, "Hey, let's get behind this guy." Right? When Trey first came in and they got behind him, and all of a sudden he turned it around. So Philly's one of those places, fan wise. I mean, it's hard to match because when it's going well, like I said, they've been causing earthquakes on TV and all that stuff in the postseason and all that stuff in the stadium, bro. It's such a passionate, electric fan base. So it's you just got to go give the effort, and they can appreciate that.
Well, look, bro. Afterlife is important. You got the podcast going. You're doing well on so many different things. Tell me about this new role with the Savannah Bananas.
Man, bro, primetime coach with the Savannah Bananas, with Banana Ball. So the Indianapolis Clowns, my man Jesse, came up with the idea of having me come to be the primetime coach. So I have good history with the Negro League Museum, and I'm sure you know Bob Kendrick, president of Negro League Museum. So my son was in Kansas City, grew up in Kansas City, so I would always go see him before I would head down to spring training. His birthday is the end of January, so I'd see him like right before I would get ready to drive down for spring training. So every time I'd see him up there, I made it a point to go to the museum, to the Negro League Museum, and walk around, and it was my way of paying homage to the men who never got the opportunity, but those who paved the way for me. So I wanted to go through, and if you've ever been to the museum, you notice that at the very end of the exhibit is the field with all the statues. So I would go around to each statue and just kind of put my hand on their shoulder, kind of like say a little prayer and like try to take a little piece of them with me so that I can take them out there on the field and play. And, my goal was to go out and say, hey, have these guys looking down and say, hey, that kid could have played with us. So to be able to have that opportunity presented where, Jesse spoke with Bob and to bring back the Indianapolis Clowns, who basically were the pioneers of kind of the baseball entertainment, the barnstorming and just everything that they do. And, I was really happy for Jesse to take that opportunity to try to look to pay homage in this way. So really happy for the opportunity, looking forward to it. We got some draft stuff coming up with it, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and participating.
Awesome.
When you do those Savannah Banana appearances, like I see the one where you have the unveiling of the at bat and all that. Just what do you think something like this, like as far as just exposing the sport and how much fun everybody just seems to be having with something like that?
I think it's great. I think it's just another spin on the game. And I think from the entertainment value and the family factor, I think it's amazing. I mean, look, you have baseball purists that are like, oh, this is this or this is that, but it's not meant to look to try to like compete with Major League Baseball in that, right? This is another form of the game and to give you another vantage point of the game. Now, don't get it twisted. The guys are very talented. Like all these guys have played, independent ball, AAA. Some, might have been up in the big league for a hot second. But all these guys can play. They can all actually play. And then you add these tricks and the entertainment value and the dance. You have to go into it with a completely different mindset of like, this is entertainment, straight up entertainment. But these guys are actually going out there and making plays like balls in the gap, and they can run them down and dive just like you see in a major league game. Like these guys are going out there and doing that as well. So, there's some good competition with these guys, but you just got to go out there with an open mindset and just look to enjoy it because that's what it's all about.
Ryan, in your career, like when you were dealing with slumps or whatever that, like, did you have a favorite process to get out of it? Like, did you have a comfort zone that you would do? Was there a certain drill that you did? Like, what was your mechanism of getting back into a groove?
Um, it just would depend on like what I was doing, but a lot of the times I would just kind of say, you know what, I'm gonna take these next two, three ABs, and I'm just gonna try to jam myself. So like my thought process was gap to gap, right? That was my foul pole. Right center, left center were my foul poles. And I wanted to try to jam myself. And Mo, as you know, like sometimes when we get out in front, you can't work from front to back. You have to work from back to front. So that's why I would say, all right, I'm going to jam myself and then make sure I'm tracking the ball all the way in, all the way in. Okay, boom, made contact here. Now I can move it up a little bit more and try to catch it a little bit earlier, and then all of a sudden you get back to where you want to be.
Oh, listen, I saw too many home runs against the Marlins to know that was working. Do you ever feel bad what you did to Ricky Nolasco all those years?
You know what? I love Ricky. I love Ricky. One time, man, we were playing against them, and we had our hitters meeting, and I was like, all right, boom. I think it was like Olsen was pitching, and then the next day it was like Nolasco, and then like Sanchez or whatever. So Hanley hits me. He's like, bro, we're going out over here. Like, you want to come over? All right. I swing over, like meet up with the team. I was like one of the only single guys at the time. And so I like go up. Their whole team was like single alias. So I go over to go meet up with them. Like they're at the bar and I'm sitting down with them or whatever. And I look over and I see Ricky like out with the team, right? And I'm like, oh, I guess he must be hurt or something. He must not be pitching tomorrow or whatever. Show up the next day, bro. Dude, damn near no hit us, man. Like he just shut us down. I was like, wait, we was just at the spot last night and you pitching? I thought he was out. So but no, man, I love those guys. They had some great players on their team, man. They just they were young. They were really young and had a lot of talent over there. So, playing in Land Shark and Joe Robbie, the name of the stadium changed every week. So it was the one thing I loved about it was we'd play down there and it was guaranteed you were getting rained out for batting practice. Guaranteed. Get rained out for batting practice, probably get like an 8:00 start.
Best clubhouse, right? Best clubhouse in the league down there.
Oh, it was great. It was amazing. And then Mo, as you know, my boy, our boy Wally Walls. Yeah. Walls was my guy, man. Walls would come in. I'd be like, hey, Walls gonna come in, come check us out. So yeah, he'd always come down, come holler at your boy.
Well, Ryan, this is a pleasure to have you on the Mo Vaughn podcast, powered by Perfect Game and the Vaughn Sports Academy. Man, this is a thrill. Thanks for giving us some time.
Bro, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys for having me.